Hello listeners, and welcome back to the Victim to Victor podcast. My name is Anu and I am your host. Now in today's podcast episode, I've invited Reiki Master David Challenor onto my show. David carried out my attunements during my Reiki Master training. He's a spiritual teacher, a medium, a tarot card reader who spent the last 28 years healing and helping people to overcome their own pain and suffering. David's journey has not been easy, as he has survived a series of relationship breakdowns which could have destroyed him, though he continued to thrive on his journey through adversity and enlightenment. The knowledge that he has to share will inspire you all, and I'm really excited for you to learn some of the key skills which you can apply as of today, as it will lead you to take control of your own power and sexuality. Listen on to get inspired. Hi Dave, lovely to have you on my show. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, Anu, thank you.
Oh, perfect. So thank you very much for joining me today. You've got a beautiful story to share with us.
I hope so.
Yeah, and I'd love to find out more, starting from when you were born to where you are today.
Right, when I was born. I was born in 1960.
Okay.
And 7th of May, so I'm a Taurian.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else would you like to know? Would you know about my family background?
Please, yeah. Tell us more about your family.
Yeah, well, my mum's Italian and my dad's English.
Okay.
They met in the forces when he was actually stationed in Italy.
Right.
And fell in love, come to England, and had 5 children.
Wow.
And I'm Piggy in the middle.
I saw your brother and sisters there.
Yeah, I've got 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I got an English name.
Right.
My older brother and sister got Italian names.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What are their names?
Anna Marisa and Federico.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Yeah. So you were brought up in a multicultural family?
Yes. I had a lot of Italian influence.
Okay.
And probably still today, I feel more Italian than I do English.
Wow.
Whereas my brothers and sisters, neither here or there.
Okay. What is it about the Italian roots that you've...
Their personality, their outlook to life, they're joyous, they're happy, and they just like fun. And they just value good things, good quality food, good quality material. Yeah. And they do value Italian goods as if it's the best. They've got that sort of value in them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because all the Italian furniture that we order, it's all mega expensive, but it's the best quality.
Yes. I mean, they may drink, but they only drink the best.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's always people that drink more, but they're more refined. They rather have a really good quality wine rather than drinking 10 bottles of wine.
Yeah.
So I think that side of it is relevant to me in my life anyway.
Yeah, quality over quantity.
Yeah, and of course having the family love and background, but I feel the Italian way has got, and I've attracted lots of Italian friends in my life.
Okay.
So I do feel my personality, my persona has attracted that energy in my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful energy. I mean, I can sense your aura now, just very pure, and you're very spiritual.
Yeah, and as we're speaking now, I can feel my energy's changing inside, and my voice may even change at some point.
Okay.
I get a sense when I'm actually talking that it's at some point something actually changes and flicks over.
Wow.
And I feel it's my spirit, my soul, my essence that actually is answering questions maybe before I can think about it. Wow.
How do you actually get to that?
I thought everybody could do it until I actually took a mediumship class.
Okay.
Gave me the job to do that. And I thought, how can I do this? And I just trusted that it was all for the right reason.
Okay.
And before I knew where I was trying to teach people how I felt, how I seen spirituality. And in a lot of ways, it was difficult because they didn't have that ability that I have of feeling what it is that I need to say. An example. I took a class for 3 years and I never had a lesson plan in 3 years.
Wow.
My lesson plan was, as soon as I got into my car and I was driving to the meditation, I'd have an image of the meditation that I'd perform on an evening.
Oh, okay.
As long as I didn't actually go into the meditation and held the image, I could then almost like channel that energy as if it was actually being said for the very, very first time.
Okay.
And I just don't know how it's going to work out. I don't really worry about how it's going to work out because when it comes through like that, I know there's a divine purpose for everybody in that room.
Yeah.
And I feel that if the right energy is coming through and the right people in that room will get the right meditation, it's a matter of flowing.
Wow.
And luckily, it was about me learning about when you've got things inside you, sometimes you don't realize, how can I put this over? How can I portray this feeling? And then you realize your feelings are unique, as everyone's feelings are unique.
Yeah.
But it's actually trying to bring that tool out to experience their tool, my tool, and how it can work into a group.
Okay.
So it was more of a learning curve for me to be put into a teaching environment where I could help others.
So your journey up until where you are today with your spiritual teaching, I mean, it's not been all that plain sailing, has it?
No. My spirituality and my teaching was started from disastrous situations in my life, you know, things that have fallen apart, relationships and marriages and what have you. And it was only when that actually happened, I decided to search for a deeper purpose and meaning.
Okay.
And in searching and searching and searching, I started to try to understand what it was that I was emanating to the world. What sort of vision am I putting out? And what lessons I have in this lifetime.
Okay.
So it was about me searching, and it started doing Reiki.
Okay.
And it was a case that I was in a situation where I was in a bad place and somebody helped me. Okay. I mean, in a bad place. The anger was unreal because I found out that there was an unfaithful wife in the situation.
Yeah. Okay.
But the lady helped me and I thought, well, I don't mind. Someone's helping me.
Yeah.
It's just nice to think that somebody cares. I didn't care how they helped.
You were angel, right?
Yeah. Anyway, 20 minutes later, the anger had gone.
Wow, that fast.
And I thought, this can't be real. That night I went home and my mum says, about time you ate your tea.
Wow.
I haven't eaten for like a week.
Really?
So I thought, my goodness, now I need to explore it. Now I need to investigate, right? You do not take help lightly. You have to start to decide what that truth is.
Okay.
I knew the truth because I knew the anger could not possibly go anywhere other than, you know, maybe in a physical way, you know, punch a wall or what have you. So for someone to actually do that and spend time, I thought, no. So I researched into it. And I said to the lady at the time, I says, I want to do this. And she says, you can do it. I want to do it. She said, why do you want to do it? I said, because if you've done that to me, I will rescue my life. I will rescue my wife and I'll heal her.
Wow.
Right? She said, fine, it's fine. So I attempted to actually do it. The first attunement, it was meek and mild. Have I? Haven't I? Because I always have discernment in me. I'm somebody that, you know, as friends said to me before, Dave, if it had been anybody else, we'd have thought it was a load of rubbish. But because you are the type of person you are, we have to sort of sit back and listen. So that was quite interesting. So anyway, on my second attunement, I started to feel different. I was almost like talking as if I was somebody different.
Okay.
And I was actually reaching out and people were coming to the salon because being a hairdresser, owning my own salon, I started to get people come to the salon that needed help. Okay. And they would just start bringing up angels, talking about their bad shoulders.
Just automatically.
And I'm starting to heal people in the chair and they're starting to cry or they're starting to laugh. And then the owner of the shop was looking a bit worried because there's people crying in the shop. And,
not good for business, right? Yeah.
No. So I thought, crikey, there's something going on here. Yeah. And it was only then that I thought, wow. So then there was another lady that actually, it was my epiphany where, sometimes you think you've learned something and is it real? Is it real? Is it in my mind? And this lady lost a child. And I said, can I help? She says, yeah, come round. So I went to the house. And, being somebody green, not really ever experiencing a miracle. But as soon as I walked in, I don't know what they call them. These things that the balls that go...
Oh, yeah, like a timer thing.
Yeah. And as soon as I walked in, this started to move.
Okay.
And the lady said, oh, my God.
Wow.
That's not moved since her son passed.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Right. So I thought, that's interesting. So then I started to do some healing on her.
Okay.
And then she had 2 cats and they tried to get into my clothes. They were in my arms.
Wow.
They're all over the place.
Okay.
But after the healing, she actually said to me, she says, what's going on with the cats? I goes, well, I don't know, they're your cats. I said, they were trying to get into my body.
Wow.
She said, them cats would kill anybody other than Lloyd. Wow. So I can't believe that they even went near you. So I felt that his energy was around me. Yeah. And being an experience, it was amazing.
That is, yeah.
But she never went out of the house for 3 days. She laughed for about an hour while I was there and I finished. I told her to chill out and relax and start to live your life and all the things you need to do to sort of like let go.
Yeah.
But she just laughed at me like a lunatic for an hour. And I said, I've got to go and leave you. Apparently she didn't go to work for 3 days, but afterwards, the miracle happened for her. She changed.
She was healed.
Yes.
Wow.
So that was a nice thing for somebody that is taking on something like that, an energy. And I felt that I was being truly gifted or signed. Yeah. That, there was a pathway here.
Wow.
There was definitely a pathway.
Do you think you were like a medium?
Well, I never really liked the word medium because I find medium, I find it confusing and quite irritating. I mean, I've never really met a medium that's actually hasn't been generic.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I just try to think and feel in a positive way that it could be, if you're given a message, why is it going to be generic? Why does it have to be a George or a Bob or what have you? And why can't it be the man with the second name and what have you?
Yeah.
Right. So I've never been a person that, yes, that's it, because somebody told me that's it. And yes, I've got this beautiful colour. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I see colours, I feel energy, I feel spirit. But now, if I was to say to somebody, is that your grandma or somebody you love?
Yeah.
Or is it an echo of what you're thinking about in your aura? There's not much difference between the spirit world and the auric path that we hold between us.
Okay.
Between us now, you've got memory of everything you've loved in your life. So you're emanating that energy.
Right. Okay.
Whether I pick up that energy from you as an echo of what that means to you, because your love brings that energy.
Okay.
And that's not saying it doesn't exist. It means we interpretate it. So most people interpretate it as being factual, but I actually interpret it. It doesn't really matter because it's energy.
Yeah.
Now, if you're emanating love and God is love, the angels are love, then that energy is love, but we don't have to put a name to it.
No.
And that's when I find it difficult. So what I like to try to be, I like to try to feel that energy is complete, all-inspiring. And your love, because you're sitting right here to me and I can feel it now. Okay. That we're all part of that because we're connected. What we're connected to, we don't know. So does it have to be a spirit? Or does it have to be something bigger? Does it really matter?
This is it.
It's what I'm more concerned about is how it affects our lives. How do we develop with that? Some people are happy to think that their Aunt Mabel is happy in the spirit world. I'm sure she is. I feel that living on this plane is far more painful, far more difficult. I feel that they've actually gone there, and if they're looking down, they've left their earthly heavy body in order to help us or guide us in what way.
Wow. Yeah, that's an interesting concept. I like that one because, I've kind of thought that already, that being in the physical form, it might even be a punishment.
How do we know?
We don't know, do we?
How do we know?
Wow.
This might be heaven. That might be hell. But how do we differentiate? So if you try to put parameters and ideals or names to things, we are limiting our mind. As soon as we limit our mind, we can't work properly.
No.
And I've always said this about tarot, as I've done tarot, as you know. And in 2 weeks, I've learned the whole tarot. And I thought, it's because I've got a good memory. And then all of a sudden we did distance readings with somebody that only left one word, and we've exchanged letters. And the readings were spot on. Then I started to take notice. But the thing is with spirituality, if you have a tendency, say the lady or the man who's doing the reading has problem with male relationships and you're doing a reading, you can flavour that with your own feelings. So to be completely void of it, that's when you've actually got. So by not connecting to what's out there, just letting what comes in, letting your own energy field work with that. That is the way. Don't put a name to it.
No, I like that. I mean, so your life, obviously, the amazing man that you are today, you have overcome a lot of adversity, and I'm really interested to find out how you overcame this adversity and what was it about the energy that transformed you, if you want to.
To be fair, my life has been quite a good life. I have good parents, good upbringing. I've been a solitary animal. I could be a wolf. I don't actually need anybody, but I like people. But the thing I've failed in my life is caring, loving relationships that have lasted. I've always wanted the family. I've always wanted to be loved. But I've always lost that in my life. And the only way that I actually overcome my first real grief, which was heart-ripping because it's actually involved children 2 times in my life. Families breaking up. And I love both my wives dearly. There's not one part of me. In fact, there's probably a part of that still there now. But that's the person I am. I don't know why I hold on to things, but I don't have like hatred or these feelings that make people feel sad and depressed and all the things that make people bad. And my first lesson to myself to overcome this is that in my mind, in meditation, I stripped everything away in my life. I tried to imagine a time when I wasn't happy, when I was happy, when it didn't involve another lady, a woman. I was on my own. I went back to a time and age where I was happy walking in the woods, because we used to live at the back of Hillsdale Common, and I was with nature. I was happy on my own. So then I put the test to me. Well, okay, I was happy without a person, right? So if I lost my house, my wife, my children, my car, could I still be happy? So when you strip everything away in your mind in meditation, you can almost like okay, the car's gone, I'll get a bike.
Yeah.
Oh, if the bike goes, I can walk because I've got good health.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
If I've got nothing and if I don't live anywhere, maybe somebody will make me a nice meal. You put the positives, and from a very early age, I stripped everything away and thought, well, actually, I was happy without another person, without another human being.
Yeah.
I was happy. I can remember the times when I used to spend hours on the woods and I used to look at the insects and I used to collect the bees and it was simple things, you know.
Yes.
And I was very in touch with birds. I love birds. I've got a whole shed full of birds. And it gives me a sense of, I don't know whether it's
joy.
Angelic, it's flight, freedom.
Yeah.
There's something about them, and they mate for life.
Wow.
They mate for life. There's no, you know.
Unstoppable.
Yeah.
So what changed with your energy then in the relationships? I mean, the only reason I'm asking this is because, you know, when there's a partner in an abusive relationship, they're stripped away of, you know, their basic needs, aren't they?
Yes.
Of love and connection. And, you know, because of that, the energy shifts to a more darker stage. And I just think that what did you do to get away from that, to become more purer? I mean, you mentioned about the Reiki, but what advice could you give to people?
Well, for me, you have to understand what it is that you're attracting in your life. And I understood from an early age that being a healer and an empathic person, you draw people like moths to a light.
Yeah.
Now, the hardest thing for somebody is to decipher which moth is going to be the one that's going to turn into the butterfly.
Right.
Unfortunately, what I was attracted in people was the fact they were hurt. I've understood that when people are hurt, they are honest. Yeah. They are open. They bleed. Their hearts, they're so beautiful. It's the nearest thing to spirituality. So I've always felt that a spiritual person becomes more spiritual when they've had trauma in their life. I've attracted this in my life. Maybe it was my lesson in life to be a healer. And it's that broken bird syndrome, you know. Most of them had to move on and experience life themselves. So my way of looking at it, there was a purpose by having children with this wife and that wife and what have you. So that is the product of your life. You can take that as a positive or you can take it as a negative. Okay. But I've actually had an input to their lives. Yeah. But I also know that I've attracted these people and lessons in my life for a reason. Yeah. I think my lesson's starting to become complete. I'm starting to understand that to give is not very good because you give it away. Yeah. I've started to realise that being a giver within a world like we are now, material as it is, we give it away and we finish up with nothing. Yeah, powerless. But the one thing I've got a belief that my purpose is great. Yeah. I have a belief that there will always be somebody there that will need, whether it's my charm, whether it's my wit, whether it's whatever it is I have, I attract people. Now, whether that's actually going to be good for my family life in the future, I can't control. Okay. So I put positives in my life. I try to put a reason for why something happened, a reason for why it didn't happen anymore. And in my situation, it's always been the broken bird syndrome because I've actually attracted wounded people, which I find attractive. Wow. It's a shame because there's such beauty in somebody that's honest. You get somebody that's gone through trauma, they can sit there and they can cry and they can tell you their life. And you just think, my gosh, really? How lovely is that, you know?
Wow.
But when they become healed, they sort of then, this hard exterior comes out again, and it's a shame.
Do you think this is because you were born to be a rescuer, a saver?
I don't like to think that that's all my purpose is.
No. Mm-hmm.
But it does cross my mind sometimes that I've been told that spiritual people very rarely find true long-lasting love in their life because they have work. But I don't really want to believe that, but sometimes you do think that.
Yeah. So what is your views about abusers and why they abuse?
Well, abusers have been probably abused themselves.
Okay.
And they're powerless people that need to control.
Okay.
You find that somebody that can't control somebody, it'll either bring out their aggressive tendencies, possessive tendencies, and basically they're misguided about love.
Oh, okay.
Love is about being able to let something go, not holding on to it. It's not a possession.
No.
I mean, I feel that society is definitely misguided about love and affection. I have a major thing when I speak to somebody I really like, and that might be, can you tell me the difference between love and being in love?
Okay.
And often most people look at you and think, it's the same thing, but it's not. Love in this world that we live in is a word that we say like.
Okay.
I can like the picture on that wall, but I can't be in love with that picture.
Right.
I can like my car, I can like the garden, but I can't be in love with the garden.
No.
I can appreciate it, but to be in love is to actually be chemistry, has to be right, where you feel completely at one with that person. And everything about that person just makes you feel complete.
Wow. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, well.
That sounds really special. Do you feel that you were in abusive relationships?
I was abused in a way. I feel that my good nature was taken.
Okay.
But in a way, I abused myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm a giver. And sometimes when you give it away. And as much as my good nature, I've got to decide that I can't keep giving it away.
No.
I love pleasing people.
Yeah,
They ask me to do something, and if I love them, I'd do anything to actually do it, because that's what gives me pleasure.
Yeah.
It isn't not always the right thing.
No, not in this day and age. I feel you have to be a bit more selfish.
Yeah, definitely.
To fit in with society.
Yeah, but you don't want to change as a person, because by changing, you lose a sense of who you are.
Yeah.
Who you are is so important.
Yeah.
And who you are is what you'll attract eventually, hopefully, in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think is your greatest lesson to date?
My greatest lesson is, well, I think my greatest lesson is trying to understand who I am and what my purpose is. If I think about my life, it's always been about learning about who I am. I think the greatest lesson for any human being and every soul is to understand what makes them happy.
Okay.
What makes them feel complete? Is it the fact that you're with somebody that makes you feel complete? I don't really feel it is.
No.
I feel that it's almost like a distraction. It makes you feel good. It's a bit like wearing a new set of clothes. It makes you feel good.
Wow, yeah.
But feeling completely happy, it lives inside your heart.
Yeah. I was going to ask what exactly is that feeling of happiness? Because, people say, just be happy. But what is happiness? Because the way that I'd describe it is more fulfillment.
Well, okay. This is quite, to be fulfilled, it might be achievements. But sometimes achievements become mundane. It's like having the most wonderful job. Once you've had it, you think, oh gosh, that's getting normal. It's like always wanting the beautiful car that looks fantastic.
Materials.
And 10 days on, it drives very similar to the one you just got rid of. So fulfillment is about how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, okay.
And self-preservation is about you and how you feel about who you are.
Right, okay.
But, and that's important.
It's
really important, because if you are not complete as a soul, as a human being, you will never, ever make anybody else happy, ever in your lifetime. You'll get happiness in your lifetime, but because you're not happy, you will not make anybody else happy.
No.
Because you're searching for things to fill them gaps and voids.
Yeah. I think this is the trap that many, many of us fall in, especially when we haven't really developed ourselves spiritually and mentally. Yeah. Because I know majority of my life I was the same. I was looking for somebody to fix me.
Yeah. So not everybody feels that they're spiritual. No. And not everybody understands what being spiritual is. What is it?
Can you not describe it yourself?
For me, being spiritual is about owning your own, owning yourself, understanding yourself, and everything around you actually benefits from it. Whether you're out in the country, you don't have to do anything other than actually observe and enjoy what it is. Whether you have a thing about saving trees or wildlife, or whether it's just being out in the wind and nobody there. That's about feeding your soul. It's about you feeling what makes you feel good, not anybody else. Okay. Not one person in this world can make you feel spiritual. It's how you feel inside.
Yeah.
But you do have to look for it. And that's the key. If you can't begin to know how to look for it, I looked through it through trauma, but I always knew, even before I looked for it, I had it. I was always into astrology. I was always into people's ways and how their body moves and how their eyes, and I could read people, but I didn't realise I was doing it. And later on, obviously, that skill came back.
Okay. And because I know a lot of people struggle to spend time alone in silence, I think even that will be victory for people, to just sit there in silence.
Well, I've done that for quite a few years now. It's for me, I don't mind my own space, but I do like to have somebody that I really love and care for, to share that space. But not anybody. Somebody that understands my space, and somebody that understands and appreciates what that is to me.
Yeah.
It's like being with somebody but feeling free. If you feel that you've got handcuffs on you as soon as you meet somebody, and then you're not free, you actually belong to that person. You never belong to anybody. You only share that person for a moment in time, and you enjoy it.
Yeah.
And when they go out and when they come back, you're so happy that they've come back.
Yeah.
But you still enjoy the fact they went out.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
You've got to still enjoy the fact that they are expressing the fact that they like that in order for it to be so good when they come back.
Yeah, we spoke about this, about the grooming.
Grooming is an awful thing.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes born in families, and obviously their peers, their parents, whether it's their grandparents, that they learn this condition because it's a way of keeping control. And you've got to understand, in ancient times, and not that far back, and go back 50 years, where a man was the one that was the provider, he had to try to be in control. He may not have been in control, but if he wasn't shown to be in control, how could he buy a house? How can he have a family? And that's how it comes through. The male line has to be in control. If he's not in control, he's weak.
Yeah, this is it. And I think a lot of women, probably men as well, are currently in relationships where they're being groomed and they don't even realise it, because it's just part of the way that we are in society.
And certain societies and certain beliefs are worse than others. And, it's changing gradually. The world's trying to change.
Yeah.
But it's about, you've got to feel that change.
Yeah.
It's like saying to somebody, well, you can't say a racist word, but you might stop them saying the racist word, but you've got to feel that it's not right to use that racist word. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
You can tell somebody that it's wrong, but they've got to feel it's wrong. Otherwise, you never learn.
True. Yeah. And also, like, another obviously big issue that we have at the moment is because of the COVID lockdown, there's been a lot more cases of domestic violence linked to suicide, child abuse. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think really it's showing the flaws and the characters of people when they're together. They've got their distractions when they go to work. I mean, lots of men, they've got their distractions when they go to work.
Yeah.
And they leave the wives to look after the children and the home and what have you. And they don't hardly see each other, really. You put them in an environment where they're together all the time, it will show the cracks.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, it's like my mum and dad when they were, together. When they retired, it was like he was always going to work, so she had to carry on the way he was. He'd learned how to do nothing.
Okay.
But he did it for 7 days a week instead of, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So it's a form of, we're all conditioned and we're all groomed in a certain way. But when people want to groom somebody, it's because they want to control them, because their fear of losing them is so great. If they belittle them and keep them down, it makes them feel in control.
Okay.
And unfortunately, a lot of people take on that, because if you're in a situation where you've got children at home and family, you might be the most thing that you've wanted all your life. And then you've got to choose between somebody that's cruel and losing a family situation. It's hard.
That's difficult.
Yeah. But, these lessons they're never going to go away. You're going to have a whole life of misery for somebody that can actually control any human being.
It's sad,
It's not good.
No. But I feel like a lot more people are coming to their senses. There's a lot more empowerment amongst women now, where, they're able to leave their partners because, they're already successful in their jobs and they don't need the man. So times really are changing.
And they are changing, and it's changing almost the other way sometimes. The girl power, it's where they're fighting back.
Yeah.
But you've got a minority that will always feel trodden on, and it sometimes happens in certain belief systems. It's more, prominent.
Absolutely. So, what advice do you give to anyone who is currently in a violent or an abusive relationship?
Firstly, find a way out.
Okay.
Start to value yourself, because if there's something that, whether it's you feel like, how am I going to cope without my home? I built this home, I love my home, and my kids still coming back. Yeah. You've got to understand is that if your children are living in that environment, it must be hell for them, and they're actually being educated to accepting that too. So you've got to break them all. Yeah. It's not an easy situation, but you need to find some strength about yourself and try to find a purpose beyond that, whether it's a marriage or relationship. And it's not easy by any means, but you have to find a reason for moving on. And normally children are the reason. There's more strong women have sorted a bad relationship out because of their children giving them strength.
Wow, really?
That's their power. That's the power. That's the mother's power. You will never get a stronger power than a mother's love.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that is powerful.
And they think they're not powerful, but I tell you what, if the abuse started to go onto the children, they would do murder to save their children. And they don't think they're powerful. They are more powerful than they think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And I always think that about the children, that they're sent to us from God and for a purpose.
Yeah. I mean, everybody in our lives are sent for a reason. They're lessons to us for some reason. Yeah. So if you actually see whatever lesson you're trying to learn, so if you believe in the spiritual path, everybody is here for a lesson. Why is it that when somebody leaves somebody, they meet somebody identical and they're also abusive? There's patterns.
Yeah.
You are emanating a pattern that attracts like for like, right? So until you start healing yourself, you're going to attract somebody else that thinks, oh, she's an easy pushover.
Yeah.
I can control her.
Okay.
So you need to change the pattern. The patterns are so important.
Yeah.
We have to change the concept.
Okay, and that all starts from within. And I know that, you know, for myself and many of the child abuse survivors, the ego plays a lot in, you know, defending us, especially when it comes to relationships. You know, it's difficult for us to show our vulnerability in a relationship, which can obviously impact how we're able to have relationships. Again, you know, what advice do you give to people like myself?
In an ego situation or the vulnerable side?
Both.
Well, I don't see you as a vulnerable person at all.
No.
I see you as a Shiva warrior. You just think you're not. And I think the strongest power for anybody, a woman, is the fact that they are the stronger sex.
Yeah.
Yes, they don't.
Wow.
Why were they given the gift of children?
Yeah.
There's power in a woman.
Wow. Hear that, ladies? I like this,
There's
man.
power.
Yeah.
Definitely power. And you need to know that what you've got to understand, men are intimidated when women become strong and powerful.
Yeah.
Because, okay, we could have an argument now, and if you're winning the argument verbally, now a bad man, obviously, would have to resort in something violent.
Yeah.
So in order to go violent, and then he has to look at himself, and then it makes him feel bad. So the power of actually making somebody feel bad, if you know how to turn it, is a fantastic tool.
Okay.
As much as you might think that men that lash out, they do not like themselves.
Interesting.
Why do they say, you made me do it?
Yes.
You pushed me to it. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Why? Because they feel so guilty, because they feel low in themselves. As a human being, he might be an abusive person, but he's still got a soul that triggers his consciousness and says, that was wrong.
Yeah.
So they try to justify it was right because you pushed me to it.
The amount of times I've had that with my alcoholic and druggy exes saying, oh, it's because of you that I've turned to drink. It's because of you that I can't give up my smoke. And I get the blame all the time.
Yeah. But when you point one finger, there's always three fingers pointing back. Okay.
Yeah.
So you find that people that lay blame lies with them. And this is what they need to be empowered with. When people start to blame you, it's because they are not right themselves. They have more issues than you. Yeah, but they just need to justify it.
It is. It's true. Yeah. And whatever they say to other people, it's a reflection upon how they feel about themselves, really.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And they need to blame somebody. If it's not the person they're with, they'll blame their upbringing or their father used to hit. I mean, it's loads of nonsense, really.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because we can elevate beyond that. We can be better than that. We can actually go the other way. Say, well, I've seen that. I never ever want to ever be like that. My dad was like that. I don't want to be like that. You've got the choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just taking responsibility for your own actions, you know?
Yeah.
That's the sign of maturity. And so many people still lack that.
Most people are mature, but they're not mature in love and relationship. Yeah. Now, I still think they should have exams before they get married. I think they should sit down and say, this is what marriage is, because it's not going to be a bed of roses. And when you have children, it's going to be hell.
Yeah.
And you're both going to get no sleep, and you're both going to feel really bad, and then you're going to feel like your life's falling apart. Right. Yeah. And then 5 years later, things start to get better, unless you have another child.
Okay.
But it is hard work. It's not easy. So you have to be in love before you even get to that stage.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you show vulnerability then when you're so defended from childhood trauma?
How do I show it?
Well, anybody, really. Yeah. Like what advice could you give? Maybe if you want to use your own experience.
What? How? I don't really understand that question.
Oh, so okay. So in terms of showing your vulnerability, like
Oh, so you're actually putting them a side of you that's actually showing that you're not easy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that all comes about understanding yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people in this whole world, they get taken up with love too early for my liking.
Mm.
They haven't developed emotionally. They get hurt and it affects them and they get damaged, and that tilts who they are.
Okay.
I do think that people really need to find out who they are early on to establish that strength.
Yeah.
Because once you go into a relationship, it's like this is the analogy I see. It's like you're in a relationship, and the only relationship you've had that's had any control over is your parents. And all of a sudden you have a boyfriend that also now you feel feelings and affection, and he's got ideas and he wants to try to control you. And it's almost like he's become the parent, right? Okay. So once you allow that to happen, there's no reason why a man should become a parent to anybody.
No.
You've got to own your own state of being.
Okay.
It's important.
Yeah,
you need to have your own identity. You need to understand what that identity is.
Okay. And that should start from a young age.
I think as soon as people start thinking about relationships, you need to establish that identity before you even go into it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
It has to be started from then, because otherwise, they just take over. And then if you're a weak person or somebody that needs, somebody might have had a really bad time in their life, so they'll fall upon that as a support. And it feels so lovely, because when it's love, it's love. And when it's not love, you think, oh my goodness, that really hurt. But you still have to have a sense of who you are in everything. It all comes back to you in everything in life. Spirituality, definitely. It's about me.
Do you think more could be done at schools to help educate our children?
I think children are getting more streetwise. I think there was a stage where children got promiscuous at an early age. Yeah. But now I think there's a streetwise coming in. I think multimedia is helping.
Yeah.
And multimedia can almost do harm as well.
Yeah.
But it's because it's so readily available. But I do think we are getting stronger because people are talking about it. Okay. Your book is talking about it.
Yeah.
Everything that, we do in our life is educating young people to become stronger, aware. Women need to be aware of their own power. I keep saying that about power because I feel women have got more power than any man.
Wow. That's liberating to hear.
Yes. They just need to know how to use it. They just need to know how to manipulate it.
Wow. Yeah. It all comes down to your own sense of security and just your own belief about yourself, know?
Yeah. It's very attractive for a woman to have an opinion and it's strong. It's almost like very reassuring.
Okay.
It's not an off-put. So if anybody's out there that feel that they've got to be submissive, do not do it.
Shut up and put up.
Have an opinion. You don't have to have an argument. You have debate.
Yeah.
You learn how to debate your point of view. You learn how to articulate what you really feel.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Arguments is bad. Yeah. Debate is healthy.
Okay, I love that. Shouting is bad.
Yes.
Okay.
Shouting is somebody that's lost control or lost the argument. So then somebody has to assert their power, control again, raising their voice to create fear, is because they've lost control. So when somebody's been abusive, anybody listening, you'll realise that when they raise and they show their authority, they've lost their authority. They need to raise it in order to make you feel they're in control.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm relating this back to my own experiences.
Yes. So who shouts the loudest? And then eventually, but you imagine if you actually withheld and said, no, I'm not putting up with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out. I'll come back in 10 minutes and we'll see if we can talk about this. You imagine the energy would change.
Wow.
Without actually getting aggressive. Said, no, that's not acceptable.
No.
Boom. A man has got nowhere to go because most men are used to being in the playground fighting from an early age with other boys.
True, yeah.
You take that weapon away from them, they've got nothing.
Wow. This is so empowering.
Yeah, they've got nothing.
Yeah. Wow. The power of the words.
Words are the most powerful thing to articulate how you feel, but without vulgarity. It has to be educated. It has to be precise. You know, to say to somebody, that's not acceptable. And just look, where do they go?
Yeah.
You haven't swore. You haven't been angry. You're just saying, it's not acceptable. I will not accept that. Thank you.
That's all about raising your own standards.
Yes.
About, you know, having your boundaries.
Definitely.
About what you are willing to accept and not accept.
Yes, definitely.
And I think, again, you know, it's quite easy to lose those boundaries when we're wanting to give ourselves to somebody so much.
Yes. And that's the thing. We lose our identity again. We go back to our identity.
Yeah.
And this is why people that are searching for spirituality, because they've lost their identity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
They need something to give them a reason for everything. So they go back, whether they go into religion, whether they go into spirituality, whether they go into water swimming. You know, it's all about them trying to find out what makes them happy. It's the most important thing.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. Brilliant. No, thank you. I love that. So let's go back to you now. What are your ultimate goals in your life?
My ultimate goal now has changed, obviously, but I still dream of a happy union with somebody that understands and have that passion and understanding about my spiritual nature. I don't think I've ever met anybody, apart from you, but you're as a friend, and people like you as friends. But in a relationship, it's quite difficult, where somebody understands what it is that I am. Instead of always being there for them and helping them through their lives, I want somebody to come on board and be with me and maybe take this spiritual journey to the next level.
Yeah.
You know, I've got good health, good fitness, a good mentality. I have a home. So I haven't got a home. I've got everything. Other than the fact that to have maybe it might be a bit dreamy, but a soulmate or even a twin soul, if it exists, if you're out there,
I can leave your number on this profile. And your email address, baby. Ladies. Oh, lovely. So thinking about, you know, your life, what is the one thing that you would never do again?
Oh, that's interesting.
Put you on the spot.
No, because I wouldn't change anything.
Oh, wow.
No, because everything I've done in my life has enriched my experiences.
Wow.
I've never, ever looked at my life as being, you know, wouldn't it have been better if that would have happened? Because you just don't know. There's a knock-on effect here because I wouldn't have done the things I've done. I wouldn't be a spiritual person if I hadn't had the knocks in my life.
Yeah, it's true.
I needed to be knocked in order to become better.
Yeah.
So, because I feel better, I feel fitter, I feel healthier, I feel, you know, that I have great hobbies and interests in my life. So everything in my life is good.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what's the one greatest thing that you've done in your life?
One of the greatest things I've done in my life. Ooh. There's more than one, but it's always about achieving something. I think actually achieving a spiritual level of understanding of myself. Because I've got lots of hobbies, but I've achieved to a high level. As soon as I've achieved it, I've moved on. I've got bored with it. Mm-hmm. But with spirituality, it's a lifelong ambition to actually understand oneself, understand others, and also appreciate the fact that you can be taken away from you as quick as it's come.
Yeah.
So you have to have that. You have to have that honour.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's many things I've enjoyed in my life, but I wouldn't say that. I think my spiritual growth has been the most tasking and difficult one.
Really?
Because there's times you don't get help. It's all about you. It's all about you getting little snippets of information, and sometimes you think, oh, it's gone. Now it's like doing readings for myself, you know? It never works for myself.
No.
And yet I can do somebody that I've never met in Australia that's sent me a text and do a reading, and I get it spot on.
Yeah. Wow.
It's almost like you're not. It's almost like you're not allowed to be so. What can I say? You're not allowed to be sort of knowing so much about yourself, as if they don't want to tell you, or it's not appropriate, or it's not ethical. It's almost like you're prying or trying to steal something without actually any effort. I don't know how that works, but
wow. And so what advice would you give to people who are looking to start on their spiritual journey?
Meditate, first thing.
Okay.
Find out who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Try to make yourself still. Start to listen. Hang around people that are like-minded and can help you. Mm-hmm. See, spiritual people, they think they are born and they're gifted. Everyone is gifted. Yeah. Now, certain people, I think, are old souls and they've brought with them a lot of tools. But everybody can find a spiritual way.
Okay.
You just need to learn how to listen. And it's like when you think of the old ways of spirituality, when it was always spooky and, and dark and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
I never talk about darkness.
Okay.
I do not believe in darkness. I do not believe in protection. Because the greatest power is the power of good and light and love. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're telling me that God is weaker than Satan, and then it's not true. So why would I be worried about the dark?
Yeah.
Yeah?
True.
Because if light is more powerful, there's nothing to worry about. The power is in the fact that you believe it. So the other little thing, the advice I would give, always go to somebody that is full of light and joy and hope. If you ever go to anybody that does a reading that brings doom and gloom and darkness, it's because they are filled with the same energy, and all they're going to do is instill you with fear, doubt, and you'll have grey periods in your life. You do not want that. No. When I do a reading, there's never anything bad.
Okay.
Because even in death, there's rebirth. It's how you articulate your words. I can see what's going on, but I can actually, with mastering words, I can actually bring it to a positive conclusion.
Yeah. Wow.
You can always flavour it with a positive. Because out of every negative, there's a positive. Yeah,
always, absolutely. And it's like, if you are thinking negatively, you're going to attract that to you. So you have to be thinking positively.
And this is what people don't realise. It's a bit like what's going on in the world with the COVID. The negativity in the media is doing more damage for people's mental health than any COVID. Mm-hmm. Because absolutely. I see people all the time, and they are a shadow of themselves.
Yeah.
It's
terrible, yeah. So can listeners contact you if they're looking for some guidance on their spiritual journey?
Certainly. Anybody can contact me. Okay. If they feel they just want to talk, email, anything. It doesn't matter.
Do you want to give your email address?
Yeah, it's Dave Angelo, one word, at talktalk.net.
Okay, brilliant. Brilliant. I'll add that in my profile as well.
Yeah, and anybody could actually contact me for any guidance.
Okay.
And feel free. It's good to help, and it's good to know that people want help and search for something else.
Yeah.
I searched for it. I was helped. So I like to give back, because when people give it to you, it's good to give it back.
Yeah.
That's the word. That is how I feel in my heart when I'm actually giving.
Yeah. That's beautiful. It's been such an honour to have you on, Dave.
Yeah.
You've just been such an inspiration to myself and the listeners.
Yeah.
And wow, you just have so much that you can share with the world, and I'm sure people are going to really benefit.
Yeah, thank you. I hope so.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And yeah, we'll see you again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. And while this episode comes to an end, you may want to check out my book, Victim to Victor, now available on audio, and where I have shared my journey of evolving through self-help and a determination to cast off my damaging past. My goal is to reach out to fellow survivors of abuse and provide hope and motivation in their lives. I hope that I can help victors transform their lives and achieve amelioration in the process of discovering their true self. I also have a 12-week self-development plan, which is absolutely free, and it aims to guide you on your journey to recovery. You can find the link in the description below. Please like this podcast and tag or share it with somebody whom you know is going through a similar situation and may need help. I will be back with another podcast soon. Until then, take care and stay empowered.